My hospital and several others, but we're involved in a project with two really innovative women. And the project is called 23andMe. The 23 comes from the chromosome structure. And so in introducing this to the leaders at our hospital, the young man from Silicon Valley who works with them, he came out to do a presentation for all the directors. And the way this works is you can find this online yourself and do it. Okay? Don't take my word for anything I'm saying. Try it. You get a little capsule in the mail, you put some saliva in it, and you send it back. Okay? Then once they get it, you have two sources, two ways to go with possible information. The first piece of information is you can find out the genealogy of your history, 40,000 years. So the young man who was doing the presentation grew up in India, and he had done this test on himself, and he put it up. And my hospital is, let's say, located in a very conservative area where people are really struggling with everything I'm talking about on a daily basis. So, you know, things happen when I just show up. Okay? It's like that. So he's doing this presentation, and he put up on his screen from his laptop his 40,000 history genealogy. And you know what was there? Of course, India was there. Europe was there. Africa was there. And I could go on, you know, and the bars shrink in size and blah, blah, blah. But he says they haven't found anybody yet who's done this, who's pure whatever they think they are. My sister, Verna, who I'll be seeing when I leave here because she's not well, but she's for 35, 40 years run a beauty salon in Cleveland, Ohio, in the inner city, in the heart of the inner city. And she told me this story. She had a customer come in once with one of these magazines, like Glamour, one of those. And she sat down in the chair and opened the magazine to this page and said, "Verna, I want my hair to be like that." And Verna said, "Well, honey, you better change your mind." Not gonna happen. And all of us need to have the courage to say the same thing to our political leadership all over this planet. It ain't gonna be like that. It's not gonna happen. And the leaders of our corporations, I had a meeting with my CEO, he interviews all the directors and he asks questions, and he asked me what I thought about how people in the hospital, the staff, dealt with differences and diversity. Different cultures. You know, 40% of our demographic is Latino, but we also have a growing population of people from Iran, Russia, Japan, Vietnam. And I said, and I warned the guy before he hired me, you know, I don't really do political correctness. So I said, well, individually, what I've discovered is people are more capable of tolerance and compassion as individuals. But when you put them together in a group, they get stupid. And that was my quote to him. To which he said, "You're the only person who's ever said that to me." And I appreciate it. I got a note from him later saying, "You gave me several things that'll keep me up all night." So, this What is my point? My point here is this pluralism is undermining all of our old categories and certainties, and is freaking people out. Watch the news. There's just a report about a young Latino man who was beaten to death by a group of youth on Long Island that the police covered up, pretended it didn't happen. And their cry was, go back where you came from. Not knowing this is where he came from. Our old ideas, our old certainties, our old things we're attached to in terms of our identities. So when I first ran into RS1, one of the existential questions was, who am I? Now that's still a question. That's always a question. But I've come to the conclusion I have no idea. So I don't have any stress around that question anymore. Right. But picking up on the inside of Kierkegaard here, there are more and more people in terms of individuation who are realizing that who they are is a self that creates itself. And nothing scares some institutional established patterns more than that realization of individuals. A self that creates, how scary is that? And you start thinking about the Middle East here. You'll start to understand some of the issues at another level. One of the reasons the Western world, quote unquote, is viewed as an enemy in parts of the world is because we represent more than any other part of the world right now, individuation. The loss of order and control over the identity of who and what we are. But, you know, you don't have to think of the Middle East. You could go down the street. You can go to Congress. And you can see the reification of identity. And you can see that you can become that identity of, I had somebody ask me, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? I said, I'm a human being. How dare you ask me such a stupid question? You can't tell I'm a human being? Our identities, where we've clung to, given meaning to, created all these values around, are absolutely necessary. That's not my point. We are coded to create identity. That's also part of our genetic code. What I'm talking about is our attachment to it, to the point of, I am willing to harm you, than face the fact that it's a construction of my own mind. And you can see this played out all over this planet every single day. The threat of one group against another group. The threat of me and my, and you and yours, and we and they. It's like our identities of race and gender and age and religion and cultural and sexual orientation have become sacred idols. It's the idolatry of our time. Look at what's going on in the world. Look at what we worship. Look, no matter what comes out of our mouth, look at what we died for and what we kill for. To protect. Every now and then, my wife says, go take a walk. Because I'll see something on the news and I'm like, no, if I hear the American people one more time by somebody I never met, who never asked me one damn thing, I saw a license plate here that I'm thinking about getting. It says, I'm experiencing taxation without representation. And if you don't know that's what's happening to you, you're not paying attention to what's going on. But because belonging is so important, fitting in is so important, not being ostracized is so important, we will almost allow anything to happen to someone else. Either because we forget. In preparation for David McCluskey's passing, I had the honor of being present in Oklahoma City, along with several of the rest of you, and I was saying to a group, now, I know you think you see Larry Ward here, but you should know, I know, there is no such thing as Larry Ward. There's only a collection of activities and biological whoop-de-doos and historical thises and that's and genes and eyes and colors that makes it possible to imagine that the play you see in front of you is called Larry Ward. And it's okay. I understand that. I don't mind being Larry Ward. It's okay. But I know I'm a play. I will not hurt you because you threaten my play. I'll not condemn you. I will not attack you because I know it's all a magic show. It's a real magic show. It's still a magic show. This is the task of the 21st century. If we do not figure out how to help ourselves understand the construction of our own identities and our attachment to them, one of the things coming to my mind, you know, we can take these identities, whether it's a nation, a race, an organization, an institution, and we can, if we pray on it hard enough, and you know, prayer isn't always positive. You can pray your way into doing evil. That it is crucial that we become capable of gaining insight in the construction of our own identities. And once you see the play, once you realize, hey, this is a play. Now let me see, what was I supposed to be saying? So I don't need to tell this group that this situation creates the energies of extremism and fundamentalism. In every discipline, in every field. It's not just religion. It's not just religion. It's economics. It's politics. It's the fabric of the social process. Because when confronted with the mystery, our natural tendency is to pretend there is no mystery. And so we take names and forms and pretend we know stuff. And we have to pretend we know stuff. We can't function without it. When I go to the airport on Sunday to fly to Cleveland, Ohio, I can't get in line and then say, I'm a play. I gotta have a ticket with a seat number and everything. My point is, don't be confused. It's not that we don't need these things to function in this world. It's not that these things are not important. I'm talking about being confused to the point where we legitimize evil to protect our own identity. Pema Chodron, who's a Tibetan teacher, who my wife's had a chance to spend a lot of time studying with, had said, you know, a mantra out of India is a magical phrase that can lead you into healing and transformation and enlightenment. And she said the mantra for America should be Om, grow up, aha. I agree with her. If I won the greatest lotto in the world, one of the things I would do is I would hold a high school graduation party for the United States of America. Because much of our behavior, this is coming from a point of view of anthropology, much of our behavior is high school behavior in this country. I'm just astounded. I see it and I see it again. It can't be, but no, it is. We somehow have not crossed the threshold collectively into the level of emotional and consciousness maturity